My father told my siblings I manipulated our dying mother into giving me her jewelry. He took the box from my hands at her funeral. I let him. 2 years later, I showed up to the family reunion wearing one earring, the other hidden in a drawer he didn't know about. When he accused me again, I pulled out the note Mom had left with it. I read it aloud. When I finished, my oldest sister looked at him and said, "I'm Evelyn, 34, and I used to believe my family was close. Not perfect, but close. I grew up in Cedar Falls, Iowa, and I'm the youngest of 4. I have 3 older brothers, Benson, 40, Carter, 38, and Davis, 36. Our dad, Alan, was strict. Not abusive, just cold. Military kind of cold. Mom was the warmth. When she got sick, everything changed. When she died, everything fell apart. And when my dad accused me of stealing her jewelry, well, that's where this story begins. Mom was diagnosed with stage 4 liver cancer during a routine checkup. It was already too far gone by the time they caught it. I quit my job at the time and moved into her house. She didn't want a nurse. She wanted me. My brothers didn't fight me on it. They all had families, kids, full-time jobs. They visited once or twice a week. But I was the one wiping her mouth when she couldn't drink water. I changed her sheets when she started sweating through them. I clipped her nails. She hated that part. In those last few weeks, she started forgetting things. Sometimes she'd call me by my childhood nickname, Evie. Sometimes she thought I was her sister. But one night, she was completely clear. She asked me to help her up. We shuffled over to her dresser, and she opened the top drawer with a key I didn't know she had. Inside was a small wooden box. Worn down on the corners. Inside were a few pieces of jewelry, just 3, really, a pair of ruby-studded earrings and a gold locket with her initials carved into it. She pressed it into my hands. "This is yours," she said. "Don't let them tell you otherwise." I stared at her. "Mom, I can't, what about the others?" She shook her head. "They had me for years before you were born. You're the one who stayed. You're the one who sat with me." I didn't argue. I didn't want to make her explain more. I just held it and nodded. I told her I'd keep it safe. She told me not to show it to anyone. "Not yet," she said. One day. 2 days later, she slipped into a coma. 3 after that, she was gone. We buried her in late November. It was cold. Gray skies, wet leaves, miserable. At the service, people I hadn't seen since high school hugged me and said Mom was proud of me. I nodded through it. After the burial, we gathered in the church hall for food. I had the box in my coat pocket. I hadn't told anyone about it. I thought maybe I'd show my brothers when things calmed down. That never happened. At one point, I went to the back room where we were keeping our stuff and found Dad holding the jewelry box. He was already opening it. "Where'd you get this?" he asked. I froze. "She gave it to me. The night before." His eyes narrowed. "Did anyone else see her give it to you?" "No. She didn't want, so no witnesses." I swallowed. "Dad, it's not like that." Before I could finish, he raised his voice loud enough for Carter and Davis to hear. "Your sister here claims Mom gave her the jewelry box. Alone. No one else around. Isn't that convenient?" They walked over. I tried to explain, but it was too late. The mood changed instantly. Carter said, "You took it before she even died?" Davis just frowned and looked away. Benson walked in last. He didn't say anything. Just looked at me like I was dirt. Dad handed the box to Carter. "We'll split these fairly." "Not now. Later. It's not right to do this today." I didn't fight. What would have been the point? They believed him. He made sure of it. After the funeral, I was out. I'd message on birthdays. Nothing back. I sent Christmas cards. Got one from Carter's wife, but none from my brothers. Dad blocked my number after I asked for the jewelry back. Told me I'd lost all respect in the family. I knew what they thought. That I'd taken advantage of a dying woman's mind. That I'd stolen from them. That I'd lied. And there was no way to prove otherwise. Until last spring. I was cleaning out the little storage unit I'd rented when I moved out of Mom's place. The jewelry box had been there, wrapped in an old flannel shirt. I opened it for the first time in over a year. The earrings were still there. The locket too. But under the bottom felt lining, tucked so deep I nearly missed it, was a folded piece of paper. A handwritten note. Evie, if you find this before I die, I hope you're not mad I hid it. You're the only one who stayed. You're the one who cared for me like a daughter should. That's why this is yours. I know the others might not believe it. But I know you. I love you. Always. Mom, I sat down on the storage unit floor and cried. She had known they'd accuse me. She tried to protect me. 2 months ago, Dad invited everyone to a family reunion. First time he reached out since the funeral. I didn't want to go. But the note burned in my mind. So I packed a bag, got in my car, and drove to my hometown. I brought the box. I brought the earrings. I brought the note. I wore one earring, just one, and pinned the note to the inside of my coat pocket. I waited. And when Dad saw it. The reunion was held at Dad's place. Not the house we grew up in, he'd sold that a year after Mom died. This was a 2-story in a newer development, all tan siding and stone veneer. Cold, perfect, fake. I walked in late on purpose. Let everyone settle first. Carter's wife answered the door. She gave me a half-smile, not warm. Evelyn, she said like the name hurt her mouth. Come on in. They're in the backyard. I stepped into the kitchen and caught the tail end of Davis saying something about real estate, laughter from the cousins, a few kids running around. Then silence. Benson was the first to spot me. His mouth flattened. Dad stood from the patio chair slowly. You came, he said. His tone wasn't welcoming. Yeah, I said. Family, right? I walked into the yard and took a seat. I didn't say much. I didn't have to. They were already watching me like I was planning something. I waited until dessert. Then I got up, walked to the edge of the deck, and turned around to face the table. I need to say something. The table quieted. I pulled the note from my coat and unfolded it. My hands didn't shake this time. I didn't steal from Mom, I said. She gave me her jewelry. And she left this. I read it out loud, every word. Slowly. When I finished, nobody said a thing for a few seconds. Just wind and the clink of a fork hitting a plate. Dad's voice cut through it. You expect us to believe that's real? Carter leaned forward. Why now, Evelyn? Why wait 2 years? I looked at them. Because I didn't want to turn this into a fight. But you turned it into one anyway. You all treated me like a thief. Benson stood up. You waited until Mom couldn't speak for herself. That letter doesn't prove anything. It proves she knew you wouldn't believe me, I said. Davis, for the first time, spoke. Is the jewelry still with you? I nodded. Can we see it? I pulled out the box. Everyone leaned forward. I opened it slowly. Only one earring sat inside. The locket was gone. Benson's face changed. Where's the other pieces? I brought one earring, I said. I left the rest in a drawer you don't know about. I wore this so you'd notice. So you'd ask. Carter crossed his arms. That's manipulative. Dad stared at me. Your mother didn't think clearly near the end. I know what she wanted. No, you know what you wanted, I snapped. Control. There was silence again. Then something shifted. Carter's wife stood. I remember seeing that box in her hands at the hospital, she said. After her last lucid night. She was holding it the next morning when I came to bring coffee. Everyone turned to look at her. She looked at Carter. She gave it to Evelyn. I didn't say anything because your dad told me not to. Dad's eyes darkened. That's not true. She met his eyes. Yes, it is. Benson slowly sat back down. His hands were shaking. Davis stood up and walked into the house. He didn't say a word. Carter looked torn. And Dad? Dad just sat there, jaw locked, saying nothing. I didn't need to say anything else. The rest of the reunion turned cold fast. Nobody knew what to say. I didn't leave right away. I wanted to see what they'd do. Carter's wife. Her name's Morgan, pulled me aside in the hallway about an hour later. I should have said something sooner, she whispered. But Alan told me not to stir things. Said Evelyn would get over it. I didn't want to make trouble. I looked her in the eye. You already did. But thanks. She handed me her number. If you need anything, records, dates, whatever, I'll help. That part surprised me. I tucked the number in my coat. I was about to leave when Davis came back from wherever he'd gone. He looked different. Pale. Sweaty. He pulled me aside. Evie, you need to see something. He led me into Dad's office. I hadn't been in there since before Mom died. It still smelled like him, old coffee and aftershave. Davis unlocked the bottom drawer of the desk and pulled out a stack of papers. Some old, yellowed envelopes. He handed me one. It was addressed to my mother. Inside, a letter. From a lawyer. It was dated a year before Mom died. The letter talked about a change in beneficiaries. It clearly stated that Mom had removed Dad from her personal jewelry and heirlooms. It said her daughter, Evelyn, was to receive them instead. I stared at it. You knew? I asked him, voice low. He shook his head. No. I didn't. But I came in here after you read the note. I had to know. And I found this in the locked drawer. I think he knew all along. I put the letter in my coat. My hands were shaking again. Then Davis pulled something else out, a small pouch. The locket. He kept it, I whispered. Davis nodded. Looks like he planned to divide it when it suited him. Or maybe sell it. I don't know. I pocketed the pouch. I left without saying goodbye. 2 days later, Benson called me. First time in years. I was wrong, he said quietly. I believed him because I thought I knew what Mom would do. But I didn't know her at the end. You did. He didn't apologize. But the call meant more than any fake apology. Then Carter texted. A single message, you were right. I didn't respond. Morgan emailed me a copy of a voicemail Dad left her back then. In it, he told her, Evelyn doesn't need to know what her mother wanted. She's too soft. She'll hand it all over if we push hard enough. That was the last nail. I saved it. I kept it all. After I found the lawyer's letter, the locket, and that voicemail, everything shifted in my head. I'd spent 2 years swallowing guilt I didn't earn. 2 years avoiding people I used to love. 2 years trying to stay the bigger person. Not anymore. First thing I did was go back to Cedar Falls and hire my own lawyer. I gave him the letter from Mom's attorney, the voicemail, the handwritten note from the box, and pictures of the jewelry. I told him everything that had happened, from the hospital to the funeral to the reunion. His face didn't change much, small-town lawyers see a lot, but when I finished, he leaned back and said, let's get you what's yours. And make them remember it. We filed a claim against the estate. Even though Mom was gone, she'd put her instructions in writing. Dad had no legal right to those items, and by hiding them, he'd committed fraud, technically theft from the estate. The papers hit his mailbox 2 weeks later. That's when the firestorm started. Benson called me first, angry and panicked. Why the hell are you doing this now? I said one word, proof. He hung up. Then Carter showed up at my apartment. His eyes were bloodshot. I believed him because I thought you were fragile, he said. Like you couldn't handle the truth. You mean like I couldn't fight back? I asked. He nodded. I was wrong. Too late, I said. Davis texted me one sentence, he deserves whatever happens. Dad tried to fight the claim. His lawyer argued Mom wasn't of sound mind when she wrote the note. But we had the voicemail. The original attorney's letter. And Morgan's written statement. A month later, he was forced to return the jewelry. Plus damages. He paid me $10,000 in losses, which I didn't ask for but accepted without blinking. But that wasn't the worst part for him. When I gave the court all the proof, including the voicemail, Morgan leaked it to the rest of the extended family. Cousins. Aunts. Church friends. Dad's reputation was shredded. The man who always bragged about doing right by family got caught lying, stealing from his own daughter, and manipulating his sons. He stopped getting invited to Sunday cookouts. The church removed him from the finance committee. And Benson? His wife left him 2 months later. Said she didn't like how easily he swallowed lies. Carter? Lost a client when word got out, small-town business moves fast. Davis was the only one who apologized, genuinely. He invited me to his kid's birthday that summer. I went. We're okay now. I didn't keep the jewelry. I donated the locket to a local museum that displays family heirlooms from Iowa women. I had a small plaque made, given in love. Stolen in silence. Returned by truth. The earrings I sold. The money went into a savings account for Davis's daughter. I kept the note, though. It's in my dresser. Framed. And one day, when someone asks why I never flinch anymore when someone doubts me, I'll tell them about the day I stood in front of the people who buried me alive, and made them listen.